What are a few things Hitler, Fidel Castro, Vladimir Lenin, Stalin, and Mao all had in common? They are all morally reprehensible. They are also all leaders of socialist movements. I'm a political science major that probably spends way too much of my time learning and studying about political theory. I care deeply for this country, which is why I've decided to devote so much of my time into politics. And today, I will convey to you why you should believe that socialism is evil. To do that, I'll talk about the moral argument against socialism, how socialism has been implemented in the past, and how it destroys American values. So what is so morally wrong about socialism anyways? Well, socialism is all about government redistribution of wealth. The wealthy pay the taxes, and the government takes that money and gives it to the poor. This may sound like a noble, Robin Hood-esque cause, but it's not just theft from the rich, it's theft from every single working American. Why does the government get to redistribute something that they have not earned to other people who have also not earned it? One relatable and simple analogy is this. Imagine your school, your college, whatever, comes out with a new rule to help students with lower grades struggle to get good grades. But this rule is that everyone with a higher than average GPA, which is typically about a 3.0, has to give those points to the school, and then the school decides who those points go to. That way there's no 4.0 students, there's no 1.0 students, there's only 2.0 students. It doesn't matter your grade, it doesn't matter your workload, it doesn't matter your major, you get a 2.0. Good luck getting into med school. Now, I understand that this analogy is overly simplified, but it's the same basic idea. It is immoral for the government to take my money and give it to people who have not earned it. Now let's take a look into the past to see how some other countries have tried socialism and how they turned out. But before I do that, I know that at least a few of you are wondering, well, what about Denmark and Sweden and Norway? Politicians like Bernie Sanders have been advocating for their policies for years. Well, there's one problem with that. In 2015, the Prime Minister of Denmark came out and specifically told Bernie Sanders to stop referring to them as socialist, because they're not. And according to Mrs.org, to claim the successes of Nordic countries on socialism is nothing but a lie. Now, with that out of the way, we can get to one of the most infamous examples of socialism in history. The National Socialist German Workers' Party, also known as the Nazis. As socialists do, they instigated stringent gun control laws, specifically on people they didn't like. The government systematically shut down businesses of people that they didn't like. The government had so much power that they could easily eradicate an entire race of people that they didn't like, who also conveniently were unarmed. Another egregious example of socialism comes from the Soviet Union. Under Stalin and Lenin, about 67 million people died, and an estimate from independent.org of the total deaths under socialist governments comes to about 170 million people. Then there's Venezuela, the perfect example of modern-day socialism. Well, according to usmission.gov, in 2019, the average income of a Venezuelan was 72 US cents per day. and 96% of the population lives in poverty, and 70% live in extreme poverty. This is a direct consequence of socialist policies. Now, contrast that to a Pew Research study that found from 2001 to 2011, capitalism actually brought 700 million people out of poverty. Now, socialism is a scary word, and for good reason. But why should Americans care? America was built on capitalism, wealth, success, and freedom. Democrats want to do away with all of those. A new Gallup poll shows that 57% of Democrats view socialism positively. That means that 57% of the left is in favor of the same system that killed 170 million people, that directly contributed to World War II and the Holocaust, and that has put 96% of a country's population into poverty. These socialist views are not fringe, they're not far left, they are mainstream Democrat views. And they've nearly made it to the highest office in America through people like Bernie Sanders and Vice President Kamala Harris. This fact should frighten you. My objective since the beginning was to convey to you that socialism is evil. We've done that by talking about how redistribution of wealth is immoral, about the previous examples and how they lead to murder and poverty, and how these socialist ideas are infiltrating American politics. We, the people, have the power to elect our leaders. That's why my challenge to you is, before you go to any polling site or to vote, look at who's on the ballot. Look at who you're voting for. If they support any of these socialist policies, please do not vote for them. I want you to firmly reject socialism and proudly embrace the American values we hold so dear.